And welcome back to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, JVaz, and you're watching the JVaz Show. Today's show is going to be a good one, but before we get you there, if you like the interviews we've been dropping, if you like this interview, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave us a comment, let us know what you think of the interview. Don't forget to let us know who you would like for us to have on the show. And also, let us know what you would like to know about that artist, so that if we're able to get that artist on the show, we can ask those questions that you guys might have. So, by the way, the Underdog shirts, they'll be available for sale pretty soon. If you're not familiar with the Underdog, make sure you head over to our audio version of the podcast on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other streaming services. We have a segment every Friday that's called The Underdog. We play music from all independent and up-and-coming artists. So if you haven't done so, head on over to our audio version, hit the subscribe button, rate it, review it, share it, and let us know what you think. So on this show, we are joined by an artist that was originally from Leon Guanajuato, Mexico. He moved to Dallas, was raised in Dallas, moved to Houston. He was able to establish his record label. He established the brand. Big Cease from Hataproof Records will be joining the show. We'll be talking about that transition from Leon Guanajuato to Dallas, from Dallas to Houston, establishing his record label, why he didn't get to work with South Park Mexican. We'll be talking about what it was like to work with legends like Big Hawk, that and much more on the JVaz Show, baby. Let's go! Oh, shit. Well, first of all, appreciate your time more than anything. Appreciate you coming out here.
Yeah, I appreciate you inviting me, bro.
And, if you're living under a rock, people don't know who you are, but I'm sure everybody watching knows who you are. Big Cease, Hataproof Records. And,
what's up, man? What's up, everybody? What's up, TV world? Your boy Big Cease, Hataproof. You know what I'm saying? Still doing it, still rocking it. Dallas to Houston. You know how we do it, you know?
Yeah, so I'm glad you said Dallas to Houston. So let's get started and talk about how it all started. You're originally from Oak Cliff?
I'm originally from Leon, Guanajuato, man, from Mexico.
Guanajuato.
I was born Mexican, you know what I'm saying? And very early on in the 80s, we immigrated to Dallas, you know, and yeah, I was raised in the hood, West Dallas, Oak Cliff, Texas, you know?
Yeah. And so were you always into hip-hop?
Yes. I mean, it depends how big of a bracket you want to put into hip-hop. Because you tell me hip-hop, and hip-hop's not just rap.
Yeah.
You know, to me, hip-hop is an entire culture. It is going to be, the MCing, of course. It's the breakdancing, the graffiti, the DJing. So, bro, like, I remember when breaking came out, I still lived in Nuevo Laredo with my grandma, bro. And I remember we used to hang out in the street corners, man, with the cardboard box, you know what I'm saying? Breakdance. I was little, bro. I was probably about 5, 6 years old. Yeah, I was the little one, and you know what I'm saying? Like with all my big primos and all their homies, man. So as far as when you ask me that question and you say hip hop, yeah, man, I've always been hip hop, man, since back then. You know, and we were always, battling and competitive. Competitiveness.
Yeah.
It's always been like that. Now, as I got older. And, I started, I want to say I started out my career DJing, bro. I was doing house parties and quinces and that type of stuff, man. And one thing that I observed was that you had to have, like, unique records, man. Stuff that got the crowd going, moved. At the time, man, when I started wanting to do music, I noticed that people liked a lot of, what they call freestyle dance, which is still very popular in Dallas, San Antonio, Austin. In fact, earlier this year, I did a show out in San Antonio, man, and I did some of my old songs. But what they are is, they're like dance ballads, bro. So they're like love songs, but they're set to, like, electronic beats, like Planet Rock. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You're roughly, in that age group to where you caught probably the tail end of the 90s.
Yeah.
I'm talking about stuff like let me see, like Lil Susie, Johnny O, Cynthia, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of, it's like lovey-dovey, but it's club music at the same time, and it's like real big in the Latino community, bro. It always has been, and that is hip hop. I mean, the roots of that was the break beats, you know what I'm saying? And then people just started adding kind of like the little salsa flavor to it, adding some, you know, romantic lyrics to it or party lyrics. So that's what I got into, man. And you know, like, you know, so when you ask me that question, yes. And from there it evolved into, as I got a little bit older, I got more experience, you know, I was in the streets, you know, in the hood, inevitably, you know, the circumstances that I was under, the product of my environment, that's what I started, you know, writing about, and that's what I started, you know, putting out there, bro. So
Yeah. So when you were in Dallas before you came to Houston,
right.
you were I-35 Boys, right? That was the name of the group.
Boys. That's yeah. That's it.
Was that also all family, or was that friends? And or how was I-35? How did I-35?
Okay,
come
I-35
together?
starts, man, when like. All right, so it's like an interesting story. I'm gonna try to make it short because I know we don't have a lot of time. Basically, I was working at Guitar Center. I was like in the middle of my divorce. Like I had split up from my first wife or whatever. I had like nothing to lose, bro. Like, I mean, I had already lost everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I had nothing to lose. I had no job. I had no wife. You know what I'm saying? I was like back in my parents' house. Like I was like 19, 20 years old, maybe, I think. Maybe 21. Yeah, but like 20, 21. So I had like nothing to lose, man. And then like I started catching back up with the homies, man, you know, from the hood that I grew up with, from like middle school, high school and stuff like that, man. And they all knew that had already been doing, you know, like the Latin freestyle music. And they knew that I had, you know, the beat machines and the recording equipment. So they started coming out, hanging out, having beers, man. And then we would start just making these beats. And then we started getting into freestyle sessions, just kind of clowning each other. You know what I'm saying? And it evolved from that. And then we're like, hey, man, well, that's cool, but you got a pen and pad. Let's put it down. And then that's where it's born, man. You know, that's how it was, like, very organic. Like, we're all friends. It was like no family. It was me. And I want to shout out to Eddie Aranda. That was my partner at the time and my business partner that we started Hataproof with. You know what I'm saying? We pretty much, like, you know, rounded up the few bucks we had. You know what I'm saying? We already had the music. I knew an art guy from Nonstop Graphics. And they actually do the Block the Block magazine. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Yeah, so I knew the graphics guy, and we had a good recording. And I told Eddie, hey, man, let's put this together, man. We'd take some professional pictures, you know what I'm saying, get the cover made. We got the professional recording. All we got to do, man, is come up with money so we can press this up, and we'll sell it, man. It'll sell. I was confident. And I guess I built them up with confidence, and he gathered up a few $100. I gathered up a few $100. I knew where to get the stuff pressed up. We both went together. We you know, and within a week and a half, we had, you know, 1,000 CDs. So we're like, well, what do we do now? Like,
what's next?
We got to go sell them, bro.
Yeah.
We got to, you know, put them in people's face, and that's what we did, man. We'd be at the mall with backpacks. We go to AMC 30. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, you know, after the movie's let out, we'd be selling CDs. And then, you know, we'd go to, you know, I think I already said the flea markets, car show, anywhere, bro, anywhere. Like, I remember one time when Astroworld was still here. You know what I'm saying? I was like, hey, man, the Cumbia Kings are going to be over there at Astroworld, bro. It's going to be packed with some raza, man. So, bro, we took the trip from Dallas all the way here. That's before I moved over here. And, bro, people were just storming in, you know, into Astroworld. We were on the bridge. You remember the bridge? I went from Reliant Park over into Astroworld. Yeah. We were standing on the bridge, and I swear to you, every person that walked by, man, I hit up. Hey, you want to buy a CD? Hey, you want to buy a CD? We were selling them for like $5 at the time, man. So, man, I think we came with like 400 CDs, and like we left empty-handed, and it was like 4 p.m. We hadn't even, like, we were supposed to be here all weekend selling, you know, these CDs. Yeah. And then we're like, man, we should have brought more, you know? So that's the excitement, man. That was our social media. Those were our likes. You know, our likes translated into money back then, you know what I'm saying? And you know, and we're not from this era where, like, everything's digital and everything's like, you know.
You had to actually put in work.
You have to put in, bust your feet, bro. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Walk, sweat, you know what I'm saying?
So I-35 transition, well, because of I-35 Boys, Hataproof came about. Then you came to Houston.
Right.
Correct?
Well, actually, Hataproof is a label. I-35 was a group
A group.
under the label, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So it's always been Hataproof. Like when we said, okay, we're the I-35 boys. So who's our record company? And then there was a lot of people in the hood that were kind of like, man, them dudes whack, blah, blah, blah. Like, man, like F them haters. You know what I'm saying? We Hataproof. And that's organically like that. It was born. And then, and I remember when we told people like, hey, man, like, hey, so what's y'all's label called? Man, it's Hataproof, man. What's a Hataproof? Like, that's whack. Like, nah, man, it's like a bulletproof, but instead of bulletproof, it's Hataproof. You know what I'm saying? Like
protects us from you haters.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So everything's just kind of like very natural. Very organic. How it all came about. It was nothing, manufactured or copycat. It was just original from the circumstances that surrounded us, man.
See, and I'm glad you said that. How everything was organic, and I'm gonna get into that here in a bit. But before I get to that, coming from Dallas to Houston, what kind of love were you guys getting out here in Houston?
Oh, man, I'm telling you, man, we were coming over here like every weekend, maybe like 3 weekends out of the month. And then there would be a show in Odessa, and we go to Odessa, or there'll be a show in San Antonio, and we go to San Antonio, or somewhere in West Texas. But the majority of the time, we were here. And see, the thing about living in Dallas is that we already knew that the scene. We knew what clubs were hot during the week, so we took advantage. We didn't rest, bro. Like during the week, we were, Monday, hit up the Monday spot. Tuesday, hit up the Tuesday spot. Wednesday, hit up the Wednesday spot. Thursday, hit up the Thursday spot. Come Friday and Saturday and Sunday, hey, we're going to Houston, bro. We already sold up Dallas. That's how we were doing it, bro. Like every night, you know what I'm saying? We were out there at least selling 70, 100 CDs per night, bro. Like I'm not even lying to you. And we weren't doing it like for the money like that, bro. We letting them go for 5 because we wanted to be able to make something back so that we could continue to press, but we wanted people to hear us, man. And bro, like once you start doing it like that, man, you'd be surprised what word of mouth does, man. You know what I'm saying? It was before social media. It was, before all this new technology, iPhones and smartphones and Androids and all that, man. So there was no streaming. No, it was all word of mouth, man. Like straight up, like word of mouth.
And see, one thing that I admire as far as establishing yourself out here, one of the things that I really admire is the fact that you came to Houston when SPM was,
At its peak.
Killing it.
Yeah.
Yet you managed to establish your label and yourself, because when SPM was doing it, it was hard to find any other. You had shut them down, but that was basically with Dope House. Right. But the fact that you were able to establish your company, that's pretty fucking impressive.
And to answer your question, I know I kind of circled a little bit. We would come down here so much, man. I mean, and we got so much love. I don't know. I mean, we were talking about Dallas streets. We were talking about Dayton's when everybody writes swangers over here. We were talking about how I think people perceived the genuineness. That's what I can say. I mean, that's what I experienced.
Yeah.
People would hear it. Yeah, they're talking about Dayton's. Yeah, they're talking about, stuff that's a little bit different than Houston, but they're being themselves.
Yeah.
And we did pay homage to like the style, to DJ Screw. So we did acknowledge the fact that, hey, the H-Town boys like their music slow. You know what I'm saying? And we were listening to DJ Screw, Swisher House. We were listening to the Color Changing Click, Boss Hog Outlaws. You know what I'm saying? We were listening to all that. So we already had that flavor, man, that style, because I didn't grow up on it. I grew up on a lot of like West Coast, like gangster rap, but it definitely played a role and an influence at the time when we were solidifying our style. You know what I'm saying? So when we came here, people would relate. Oh man, these dudes, they're themselves, but they still got that funk, that flavor.
Yeah.
And then you can go to the comments. It's funny because you go to the YouTube comments, man, and I see like my boy like Cheddar Loke doing something very similar now in modern times to what we were doing back then. And then people be in the comments like, man, that's them Dallas boys, blah, blah. And people argue about that type of stuff. Like, y'all, that ain't no slab. Like, I mean, people like have grown. I'm gonna just say it, bro. I know I'm supposed to be Christian or whatever, but I'm gonna just say it. People like behind behind the disguise of a social media page, man, they grow a pair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they say things that they normally won't say to your face. So yeah, you see the comments or whatever, but hey, that's why we hate proof, right? So the point I'm trying to make, man, is like, you know, what I was trying to say is I kind of like lost track. So what I was trying to say is like, it's kind of funny to me to see people kind of like try to downplay it, but at the same time, back in our days, they actually appreciated it. They appreciated that difference. And I think we were face to face with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think if my boy Cheddar Loke or whoever out there that's doing things in Dallas, man, and representing real tough, if they get in people's faces here, they ain't gonna tell them that to their face.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the point I was trying to make.
So my question leading up to what we were talking about was, how hard was it to establish your label?
Okay. It was easy, bro. I've always said, man, that I think my calling was different. I was supposed to do something else. And the Lord has blessed me with being able to just ease into situations, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the Lord had gave me all the tools to do what I had to do, but I wanted to do what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you're right. How did we come to Houston and we popped up a record shop? You know what I'm saying? And we were like I remember, I'm not saying this, I'm repeating what others have said about us. We were supposed to be the next Dope House. People have referred to me because of the Screwed video mix as like the Mexican DJ Screw. I don't say none of those things about myself, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm DJ Screw to me, bro, is like way beyond, bro. I would never put myself up to him like that, bro. I'm just saying what I've heard people saying comments in conversation and about Dope House, man. I could even tell you who said it. My boy Agony Live said that. Man, see, y'all like the next Dope House. Look at what you got here. You got your store, you got your studio, this and that. So everything fell in place organically, bro. Everything just it was like, bro, I'm telling you, man. And I know this probably leads up to a different part of the conversation later in the podcast, but everything was just handed off to me very smoothly, bro. Very easy. I worked very hard. I'm not gonna lie. I worked very hard to be where I'm at. But you're right. I couldn't tell you. If I had to do it all over again, I don't know if I could tell you if I had a formula. You know, it's just, I guess, just being genuine, bro.
In my opinion, and tell me if I'm wrong, what I feel like also might have got you there is that you weren't trying to just be an artist. I mean, we're talking about Big C's. We're talking about Hataproof Records store, like you said, T-shirts. We're talking about music videos. You never just said, I'm going to be an artist, and that's it.
Right.
So it's like entrepreneurship. Like
that played a big part on it. You're right. Hataproof was like a brand. Exactly. It was like a boat, and there was different captains, and you know what I'm saying. Like I have it in my head what I want to say, but it was like this, like a movement. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that kind of helped influence, because you would not only see people, you know, banging the Screwed video mix or banging the CDs, but then you would see people with the Hataproof shirt, the hats, you know what I'm saying? And bro, I'm telling you, man, like there was a point in time, man, where you would go to Slab Sunday, man, and everybody that would hang out there, bro, or you go to McGregor Park, all they were watching was Screwed video mix, bro. That's all they were watching on them screens. And you know how big Houston was with the screens back in, you know, the late 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, you know what I'm saying? And bro, I'm not saying that this to brag, bro. I'm saying it as modestly. It's just the truth.
The videos are out there. It's true, like you said.
Yeah. You know,
and you know, I always before we started working with the music video and stuff together, I would see your videos on YouTube, and I'd be like, these dudes get a lot of fucking love, because every music video you ever shot, it was like a fucking car show out there. People would show up with cars. You had a crowd, and it was just like, it was crazy to see how much love you guys were getting. In the meantime, everybody was like, it's hard to get any love because Dope House, you know, all these people are over the game.
Yeah.
in my opinion, because from what I know you now, I feel like you were just kind of like, okay, Dope House is doing their thing.
Yeah.
Let's do ours. Not worry about Dope
Yeah, just don't
House.
worry about dope house. In fact, I don't believe like I had a dope house feature on none of my albums up until I did a feature for Carolyn Rodriguez. I did a feature for her album, and then I think I connected with like, oh my bad, no, we had done some stuff previously with Bash, but that's beside the point. What I was trying to say is like us, like reaching out to them to put ourselves out there like that, like oh, like being on. I I acknowledge Carlos and I acknowledge his brand and everybody under his umbrella, man. And I got much love for them. I mean, we a lot of times would always be on the road and we'd be like next to their hotel room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And in the same little, doing the same shows, opening for the same, whatever. We're hustling next booth to each other. But like you said, I never wanted to be under that umbrella. I let them do their thing. They had their own sound. They had their own, image, and we had ours. And maybe that contributed to it. I used to always hear people tell us like, "Hey, man, we're gonna be the next dope house." Hataproof never said that. Hataproof always said we're Hataproof. You know what I'm saying? We weren't trying to be the next dope house. Dope house did their thing.
Yeah.
And it's like we're Hataproof. We you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. I mean, to answer your question, man, it was a little bit difficult, maybe for other people, but for us, it's just,
Yeah.
bro, you know.
All right, so we're talking about the Dope House people doing their thing. You doing your thing. Did it ever cross your mind to do any work with Carlos?
Initially, when we first were creating our sound and our style, we were tempted to reach out to him. You know what I'm saying? And do some things with him. But that's probably like when he was already starting to, have his allegations come
Yeah.
about or whatever. So it became harder to get a hold of them or whatever. We like I said, early on we did work with Bash. We had a couple other cats come by, but as far as like that being like I remember I used to see people, hey man, this is my new album, and then I mean, I'm not knocking, man. I love all these people I'm about to mention, but it'd be like, so and so's album, but you got Lil G, you got Rashid. It's like it's a dope house album.
Dope
bro.
House album, yeah.
It's a dope house album, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I, I applaud the effort, because I know these guys charge money. I know whoever got them to come record it, it was a lot of money. But for me, it was different. It was like I'm just as talented, and I don't have to pay so and so. And instead, and not that they're not worth it, but the way that I saw it is I'll take that money and I'll press some CDs, or I'll take this money and I'll make some shirts, or I try to spread it out, spread it out a little bit, and get like you said, get the little catalog going. So to me, that was a little bit more important than having a feature,
Yeah. So now, with people that you've worked with, you work with, and we were around a lot of Houston legends.
Right.
How did that feel, especially now that you look back at it? How did it feel to be able to accomplish that, to be able to work with those people, and which one was your favorite?
Man, it's a great feeling, man. To be able to work with so many people that like I said, I can't say that I grew up listening to them, but when we were establishing our sound, we were listening to Rec Shop, we were listening to the Screwed Up Click, we were listening to Lil Flip, we were listening to South Park, so we listened to all these people, man. So when I started coming down, man, and then I get to like go to events, video shoots, you know what I'm saying, and I'm hanging out, at their events, and I'm very much like what you're doing now, and getting, ESG or Big Pokey or all these great folks on camera. It's an honor, man. You're like, oh wow, and then you realize like, hey man, these guys are great, but they're human.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're human, like, and they're cool people, man. Out of I don't have many features, like big features in none of my albums. I would have to say that our biggest features were probably like Hawk and ESG. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And you asked me my favorite. I'm gonna tell you, bro, it had to have been Hawk, man. ESG, I love ESG. I still follow him on Instagram, and boy be clowning on there. You know, he funny, man. You know, he like genuinely funny. You know, I get a laugh out of him every morning. But with Hawk, man, it was like I met him at, I think it was at the Paul Wall video shoot, the Sitting Sideways, and I got a drop from him. And then I asked him, hey, man, can you bust a little freestyle for me? And then he's like, oh, no, baby. I don't freestyle. I'm like, oh, come on, man. You're on the screw tapes. I just really wasn't. It was like an awkward situation because I didn't know how to. I was still learning. So then I still got his number, man. And then like for the next year and a half, bro, I would randomly call him, hey, man, what's up? Let's work. And then like I'm not gonna say that he would like not want to work with me. But he was always like the timing wasn't right, or you know what I'm saying? And I never had the sense that he didn't want to work with me, you know what I'm saying? And I guess one time he just got tired of his Mexican calling him, like, come on with it. I said, all right. So I met him up, man, you know what I'm saying? I gave him the track, and I told him this is a concert, man. He loved it, man. He loved it. He had the verse like in within the next 24 hours. He came by. He recorded it. Man, we were loving it.
Turning lane, 6 CD change, trunk full of bang like change. Then I swing, smoking Mary Jane as I grip wood grain. It's kinda hard to explain why I'm so off the chain. Chill banging screw, riding candy blue. I don't gang bang, so I ride red too. Ever since '92, I've been screwed up, syrup in my cup and a straw.
The following week, they shot the video to Little Kiki, Knocking Doors Down. Was it Knocking Doors Down?
No, that's Pimp C.
Yeah, but it was Kiki's verse.
Kiki's sample on there, Knocking
Doors Down. No. It was a Little Kiki video. It was one of back when it was around that time, like 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, but I remember we were at this warehouse with Swisher House. And it was a Lil Kiki video. Yeah, man, the one where it's a police lineup. It slipped my mind. Anyway, we were there, man, and he did like this drop for me, man. He's like shouting out to Hataproof, shouting out to me, shouting out to the Screwed Video Makes. Y'all go buy and he didn't have a problem with me calling my DVD Screwed. Like nobody, like I've heard some people make some little remarks. Man, it ain't DJ Screwed. It ain't Screwed. But Trey never told me that. Bub never told me that. Hawk never told me that. Like they were shouting out, Pokey. Nobody had a problem with. Like the significant people that mattered. Me calling it Screwed never had a problem with me calling it Screwed. So I was like, man, that's what's up, man. That's love, man. That's love. I just called it Screwed Video Mix just genuine, because that's what it was. It was the DVD, and it was mixed, and it was screwed. So what do you call it? Screwed Video Mix. Like I don't know. Like it ain't that I was trying to be DJ Screw, but I was just trying to describe what it was. So when you go to the flea market, oh, what is this? Oh, Screwed Video. Oh, okay, it's videos that are mixed up and they're screwed. Oh, okay, yeah, let me get that. That's how my thought process has always been. Not that I was trying to copy, it's just descriptive. People are simple, man. People you shouldn't have to explain things to people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they never had a problem with it, and we ran with it. You know what I'm saying? And but yeah, man, like Hawk had been my favorite. Unfortunately, man, our relationship, as musicians together, man, only lasted 3 weeks. We recorded that song. I seen him. I think it was like on a Thursday when we shot that video. Come Monday, May 1st, I got a call from DJ Kool-Aid. Hey, bro, DJ Hawk was shot, man. I'm like, what? Like, nah, man, it can't be. And sure enough, man, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was shot, and that was it, and it kind of changed me, man. It changed me because now we were in a situation where, like, here I am, like just me doing my thing, and now we're on the spotlight. We're on XXL magazine. We're on because of Hawk.
Yeah.
Because of him, and it was, it was kind of rough. And had I been another person, I would have probably ran and exploited that. But out of respect to him as a human and as his family, man, I kind of actually backed off a little bit, bro.
Yeah.
You know, and the song got really big. It was all over the place, man, all over the place. You know, but I never wanted to exploit it like that. You know what I'm saying? And the song, like, if you're watching this and you don't know, it's called "I'd Rather Bang Screw," and you know, it's a jam. Look it up on YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's a comment to that. I felt like every track you made, because you used to make the beats for these tracks. You made the beats, the samples. I was showing my nephew, because he's younger. He's not familiar with Hataproof.
Yeah.
And I was showing him, I was like, man, one thing about Cease is he makes these beats. I'm like, and all these motherfuckers are catchy, like real catchy beats. But so from making your own beats, working with these legends, having your own record shop, establishing your label, everything that you've done, the whole journey up to date, what has been your favorite part of it all?
Ooh. That's never been asked that. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. I think just looking back, man, and enjoying and appreciating that the genuine love that people have given me, bro. Like listening to the music, wearing my designs, bro.
Yeah.
I had some crazy stuff, you know, on shirts, you know, and they're like, oh man, that's that Big C shirt, man. Like, I'm gonna get, you know, like it just it feels good, man. That you know, out of your brain comes something that you manifest into something physical, and people appreciate it, you know, and like put it on and represent it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I remember we would be going to the mall, man, and I'd see little dudes I had no idea existed, and they're walking around and they have a Hataproof shirt. You know what I'm saying? And wearing them to school.
Love, representing without you even having to be out there.
You know what I'm saying? And that's like, man, that's love, bro. That's like, I think looking back at all this time that has passed by, that's probably what I appreciate the most.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, even in our small town, Waller, Hempstead, you would see people, you know, jamming to the Screw video mixes,
Already.
the Hataproof shirts out there, and it was like, it's wild, you know, how much love you guys were getting. Like I said, that was one of my biggest.
And that all goes back to that word of mouth, man. You know, it's like word of mouth is at the time, you know, it's like your at the time was like your social media, man. You know, but it was people sharing, you know, face to face. You know what I'm saying?
I see your shirt, Mil Máscaras.
Oh, yeah.
One thing that I've always known about you, you're so in touch with your roots.
My roots, right?
You're so proud of being Mexican. I know you got the Mexican eagle on
and
there.
I got Hawk right here too.
Yeah.
That's Big Hawk right there. You know
All
what I'm
right.
saying?
See, that one I didn't know about.
So that's how much, you know, he hit me, bro. But yeah, definitely, man. My roots, you know, I'm proud to be, you know, Mexican. In fact, I about 2 years ago I did a DNA test, and it showed, man, that I'm like 65% indigenous blood, bro. You know what I'm saying?
65.
And I just always try to have that connection, man. You know, and we've always tried to bring it about also in our music. You know, we've done some Spanish tracks with groups out of Mexico, like El Cartel de Santa. We got like Spanish albums that Nava did. And every album that we did, we always had at least one, maybe two Spanish songs. And it wasn't Spanglish. It was always Spanish. And my thing about that is like, we have family in Mexico, bro. So, you know, like when my parents would go or when I would go visit, I'd take them to CDs. And I always, since back then, before I even like went for I thought in my mind, okay, if I ever visit Mexico and I tell my tío or my tía, like, mire, lo que está haciendo, they're going to ask, ¿pero qué dice, mijo?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Pues I tengo una rolita para ustedes, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got one for y'all to understand, you know? So we always, that was one thing we always did, man. We always try to do like a song in Spanish. And the way that we did it, like, well, at least I'm gonna speak for myself because I do have other people that were involved in those songs that don't necessarily speak the language is good. So they did what they could. But what I try to do, and what Nava tries to do as well, shout out to Nava, man. What up?
Shout out to Nava. I actually still owe Nava a Caguama from 2005.
Oh, that bet. It was a boxing match, right? Yeah, I remember.
I still owe him that.
You're going to have to get him on here and buy him his Caguama, bro.
Definitely.
So what we try to do is not come with Spanglish. Like we did not want to do like Chicano slang. You know, we try to come through like how would they understand it in Mexico? Like we try to put ourselves how is the language spoken in Mexico? What is the understanding? You know, what is the
Yeah.
culture like? And then that changed my mind a lot too, because like back in the like in the 90s, you know, in the 2000s, when we were doing this thing, man, it was like a big thing to, you know, grilled out, you know. And I remember, man, the first time that the dudes from Cartel de Santa came to record, they were like amazed, like, man, you guys are really walking around like that and you're not afraid to get jacked? And I'm like, nah, bro, like that type of stuff don't happen here, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And then like, I mean, it does, but you gotta, you know what I'm saying? You really gotta be a fool to you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or somebody's gotta have it in for you to jack you. You know what I'm saying? But what he made me realize is that and I think we were talking about this before we were rolling the camera. We're spoiled in the U.S., bro.
Yeah.
Like what he told me basically was it was real nice and short. He said, in Mexico, man, you know, you can't walk around like that, bro. You know, in Mexico, hip hop is about the competitiveness, and it's about like for real, how raw and how sincere you are. People don't look at your gold. You know why? Your gold will get taken quick. And I'm like, I started thinking, man. And after that, you started seeing the jewelry fade away a little bit, and you started seeing the music change a little bit, because I started realizing like wow, like this song that we did with Cartel de Santa, it hit. I mean, in fact, I was just in Mexico, man, and we were driving by. We stopped at a red light. There was a man selling jugos on the street corner, bro. He had his radio on. Si somos callejeros, raperos y mexicanos. I'm like, dang, like, you serious?
That's
Like, bro,
dope.
it's been like 10 years since we did that song.
Yeah.
And they still jamming it, bro. And it was in my hometown. So, man, you know, boy, you know,
That's-
Somos callejeros, somos callejeros, somos callejeros, somos callejeros, somos callejeros, raperos y mexicanos, le damos todo juntos y así no nos la pelamos y demostramos lo que tenemos por el mundo entero, por los hijos del bueno, hacemos.
¿Cómo la ves? Aún nos queda jale para largo, güey. Hasta la muerte seguiremos.
And my hometown is not a little small, you know, Mexican town. No, it's a big city, bro. It's a big urban city, Leon, Guanajuato. You know, it's probably like the 5th largest city. It's basically the Houston of Mexico.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So to have that type of reach, bro, you know what I'm saying? And again, it came from that genuineness, bro, from us
Yeah.
putting ourselves in that situation. Like, how are people in Mexico today in this age? You know what I'm saying? Like that's where that came from, man. And that's something that has always been like conscious. Like, try to understand people. Don't be a culture vulture. You know what I'm saying? Like really when you gonna do something, truly represent it for what it is, man. For the beauty of it, for the ugliness of it, the rawness of it, whatever. But do it genuinely. Don't make fun of it. Don't you know what I'm saying? Don't downplay it. You know, don't, you know.
So, you know, building Hataproof, you know, establishing yourself. What put an end to that era? Not no Hataproof, but what put an end to that era of style of music, and what's going on with Hataproof right now as far as that Boy X and everybody else that was involved.
Okay.
It's
So, I think, man, that there was a point in time where amongst the group, we all got big-headed. You know, it was, you go to Magnificos, you know, and everybody was just rushing to the Hataproof booth, and, you know, and it started, you know, that big-headedness, like, okay, well, who are they coming? Are they coming for this artist or that artist, or are they coming for me? You know what I'm saying? And it's something that, again, kind of like self-destructed, like, organically. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody wanted to be the man, you know what I'm saying? And everybody wanted to rise above and branch off. And I'm like, no, hey, we started this together, man. Let's keep it together. You know what I'm saying? And I think like we kind of like sabotaged each other. I mean, if you want me to be honest with you, I think like we started undermining each other, like having creative differences, and it just kind of like dwindled down, man, and it led everybody to separate paths. Like, you know, certain people started their own stuff, you know what I'm saying, and then like with me and my cousin X, we had a personal disagreement that I don't want to discuss. We've gotten over it.
Yeah.
I don't want to rehash anything old. But it wasn't so much creative differences or anything like that. It was just like family. You know, it's like certain things happen within the family, and then we took a break. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I love my cousin. You know, we still, you know, have a beer together every once in a while when I go back and visit. You know what I'm saying? He's doing his thing. I'm doing my thing. You know, it's like at this point we're grown men, bro. Like, you know, I have my kids. My kids are already, you know, older. His kids. I mean, his daughter just turned 7 today. You know what I'm saying? Happy birthday to little Kimberly. You know what I'm saying? So you lose focus on what's not important in life anymore, and what's important to you at your current state. Like right now, I'm sure, like, you know, not to put him out there or anything like that, but I'm sure liquor and weed probably the last things on his mind. You know, and having the female followers and all that. That's probably the last thing on his mind. That's the last thing on my mind right now.
Yeah.
So now what's important to me is family, bro. Like making sure my kids are straight. His kids are straight. You know, like Nava. You know, Nava's a hardworking dude. Always has been. His kids are straight. So everybody, aside from the creative difference that we all had, I think it came a point to where we all became men. Like our kids started growing, and you know, like certain people, you know, maybe got into separated in their relationship, like, you know, like marital relationships or this or that or the other, and it kind of like was hard to. It became hard to say, hey, well, let's all get together and have some beers and write some music. Oh, man, I can't, man. Like my wife left me, or, oh, I can't, bro. I got to work a late shift, or I got to do this. So it became to a point to where that started becoming really hard. And we talked about this before we roll the camera. It starts to become like a job. Like, oh, man, I got to put this music out because this is what my livelihood depends on. So what do I do? So you write something real quick. And then, like, homeboy comes in, 2-3 days later and writes something real quick. And then, like, a week later, somebody else comes in and writes something that, like, okay, well, let's just put it together and see what we can come up with. And it's not, at that point, it starts to become manufactured. It starts to become ungenuine. And I think that's when it starts, the fan base. And aside from that, our people that, I mean, look at you, how old are you now?
31.
You don't have to answer
like
that.
31.
You don't have to, but the same situations that we're in, our fans are, growing older. Like you said, your nephew here helping you, he has the slightest idea of who we are, what we did, our music. And then there's people who were maybe, chavalitos, they were listening to the music or whatever, right? And they might still know about Hataproof or Screwed and Chopped or, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But the fan base grew too. So, and then the era just kind of goes into skinny jeans and you know what I'm saying? And it becomes something different. I'm not knocking it, bro. I appreciate that. In fact, there's been a couple of new songs that I have where I adapt the cadence, you know what I'm saying? Because, it's fun. It's a challenge. Like, okay, let me see what these dudes are doing. Let me see if I can do it. Competitiveness. I don't want to be them. But I want to see if my lyrical, skills are still there to hub, you know what I'm saying? So, but to answer your question, man, that's what happened. That's everybody became a man, and everybody branched off in many ways. One of them was maybe like we were undermining each other, being prideful, and at the same time, everybody had different family-related issues or, personal problems, and then it was kind of hard to glue it back after that, And I don't think I've ever answered this question. This is a ¿cómo se dice?
Exclusive.
Exclusive.
Yeah. All right, so that comes to an end, and then opens up the next chapter of your career, and you get into Christian hip hop, or what's the correct term for it?
I like to call it Catholic hip hop, bro.
Catholic hip hop. Okay.
Hip hop. It is Christian. I mean,
So that opens up. You start doing that. Can you tell me what sparked that interest, or why the transition?
We gotta start all over again, bro. Because the journey starts when I'm young. How I was brought up. You know, I brought up Catholic, man. I was into the Catholic church. I was a choir boy. I was an acolyte. You know, the altar boy or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I was youth group. You know what I'm saying? And then like in the hood. So all of a sudden, things start becoming, you know, attractive to me. Lowrider cars, lowrider bikes, DJing, you know, females. And they're like, I think I'd rather go to it's Sunday, but I'd rather go to the car show and see the hotties walking around and the you know, the candy paint, you know what I'm saying, and hear Kid Frost, you know what I'm saying, than to be over here, you know, at church. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, very early on, 12, 13 years old, man, the culture when I was growing up was all about lowrider, bro. You know what I'm saying? So every time the lowrider show came about, doing that, or you know, I always find an excuse not so you start to distance yourself and further and further and further and further away. You know what I'm saying? To where we get to the point to where, you know, the story starts with Hataproof. I'm far detached from how I was brought up, right? But never detached enough to not
come back.
Yeah. So not to go back, but to be conscious of what I was doing at the time, because I'm gonna tie it back to the shirts and the pride and like, oh man, this is what I appreciate the most. And how I told you earlier that everything was kind of just somehow put in place for me. So long story short, man, it's like when we were hitting up the flea markets and selling the CDs, there was a group of kids, man. They were young kids, middle school kids, maybe early high school kids, and they were digging what we were doing. They bought the CDs, and then they call us, man. You know, and then they're like, hey, you know, where can we record so we can do some music like y'all? I said, man, we got a studio. Come by and record. So they come by, they record, man. When they walk in, you know what I'm saying? The studio smoked out. We drinking, we having fun. You know what I'm saying? And we doing all kinds of crazy, you know, crazy cool stuff that we did as artists, you know what I'm saying? And these guys were like, whoa, like, man, I want to live this life, you know what I'm saying? We were really living it, you know what I'm saying? And they were just kind of like, oh, man, I want to do this. So then, you know, we recorded, I gave them their little CD or whatever. They called me about a week later. Hey, so what's up, man? We want to come back in and, yeah, come on with it. You know, the extra income. So I was recording, you know, I was taking other studio sessions as well. But these dudes, you know, came in, and next time I see them, they got little grills, little do-rags. They're sagging their pants. Man. You know, they got little
transformation.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was like, what? Like, man, y'all were just nerds, like, you know, a week ago, bro. Like, what happened? You know, and what happened was that influence, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's the message that our music was bringing, even though, like, I you know, we glamorized it. We've already glamorized it and said how, you know, secularly, you know, on the, you know, we like, oh, that's appealing, man. You know, we talk about the slabs, we talk about the females, we talk about the lean and the weed and the drugs and, you know, the fast money and all that. We glamorize that and we live that, you know what I'm saying? But you don't realize, man, that to somebody who is young and who is like a sponge and absorbing it, they all of a sudden, maybe their dad's at work, you know, maybe their dad's in jail, maybe their dad's dead. They don't have a father figure, bro. So they're looking to us to become men. You know what I'm saying? And this is something Tupac said, man. We have to be accountable for the stuff that we say and the message that we give. You know, how you gonna you know, show somebody how to be a man if you're talking about we don't love them hoes, you know, and you know, weed, and you know, so you're sending them a path to self-destruction. You know what I'm saying? So since very early on in the I-35 boy days, you know what I'm saying, that was already like in the back of my mind, bro. It was already bugging me. It was bugging me. And then, like, you know, to fast forward to when everybody started branching off and I started seeing how, like, everybody's life was kind of like, you know, like I want to say in shambles, bro. I mean, we were all going through difficult stuff. I realized, what am I doing wrong? Where did I go wrong? We were, you know, significantly, you know, famous, and we were, you know, doing real good financially. What happened? You know, what happened is that all that negativity that we were putting out caught up with us, bro. At least with me, it did. I'm not gonna speak for my, you know, for my people, But I'm gonna speak for me. It caught up with me, bro. You know, I realized like, man, like what am I doing wrong? You know, and you realize your kids are watching you. You know, and those are your kids. But then, you know, other kids are watching. So you all of a sudden become accountable
Yeah.
for implanting this knowledge and these seeds into these kids, bro. And that's when like I started my journey, bro. I'm like, man, like I got to do something. And if you notice, if you go back and listen to I Am Hataproof, which was my first solo album, it's already borderline like has Christian topics in it. But at the time, I was so far away from the faith, bro, that I was saying stuff and I was like mixing in like knowledge that I acquired over time from, you know, watching Dan Brown novels and, you know, people talking about the Illuminati and, you know, like nonsense, you know. So I had to sit myself down, bro, and say, okay, as a Christian, what do I really believe? What do I believe? Like, you know, I don't even know God's name. You know what I'm saying? What is God's name? You know what I'm saying? And then there was a lot of things that I already knew, and then that I started like Google researching, and you know what I'm saying. So I started like thinking like, man, I don't know anything about my faith. So at the time I was hanging around with I wasn't hanging around. I met a homie, man, that started telling me, hey, well, you know, like, you know, the Mexican people are from the tribe of Issachar and this and that. And then you start like, oh man, that sounds interesting, man. Like, you know, it's like empowering, you know, like, oh man, we're God's chosen people, blah, 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 you know, Israelites, blah, blah. And then you start doing the research and like, hey, you know, yeah, what you're saying it kind of relates. But then you start seeing the other side of it where they're like dissing other races and you're like, the gospel don't teach that, bro. I mean, I know I might have not known the gospel well like that, but I knew it well enough to know that.
You knew enough, yeah.
And I was like, nah, I need to back off. And at the same time, I mean, I was taking my daughter and my son to catechism so that they can get their first communion. I was still raising them Catholic because that's what I knew, right? But without me actually knowing what being Catholic was. So then my wife one day tells me, hey, you know, our daughter asked us, why don't we take communion? And, you know, that was a tough question to ask, you know what I'm saying? So my wife said, well, I want to get my sacraments because I want to, you know, take communion with my kids or whatever. And I'm going to join the classes. And I know that you're doing your thing right now with, you know, exploring with other, you know, other denominations or religions or whatever. But if you want, you're welcome to come with me so that you can maybe, if you have any questions, you can ask.
Yeah.
So I started going to the classes, man, and I started like asking questions. Man, probably the first 2-3 months, I probably got on their nerves, bro, because I mean, like, I was coming from a very, very anti-Catholic point of view. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand anything, so I thought, oh man, Catholics worship statues, and you know, they go to church on Sunday when it's supposed to be the Sabbath, which is Saturday, and you know, all these things, all these fallacies, all these lies that people talk about the Catholic Church. As a Catholic, I was so far away that I believed them too. So then I started going, man, and I started learning, and then I started realizing, you know what? All this was so easy given to me because I was supposed to be spreading this gospel message from a very long time ago.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm gonna tie back to that. I was supposed to have been, you know, being a good steward of my talents, bro. And I was supposed to have been out there instead of telling people to go to the clubs and get drunk and get high and, you know, be promiscuous or whatever. I should have been telling them, hey man, look, this is Jesus Christ and he died for your sins. You know, and anything you do, you know, if you repent from it, you know, he's already atoned for those sins. And if you truly repent, you know, you will be saved.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's where the message changed, man. When I started realizing, you know, that everything that I was putting out there was not his message and it was not his purpose, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, and I mean, I still talk to a lot of the homies that do secular rap, and I don't knock them. You know, everybody has a different calling or whatever. But my message now, bro, like as a hip hop artist, is to put out there the truth. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you what the truth is. The truth is, bro, that you're gonna die, and I'm gonna die, and we're all gonna die, right?
Yeah.
That's the truth.
The cold truth, yeah.
So that's the truth. And this is what I tell people, man. Like, okay, so you have a remote control car, right? And what makes the remote control car go? And then the little kid will answer, well, what makes a car go? Well, the remote control. But what makes a remote control go? Well, the batteries. What makes the batteries go? Well, the energy, right? So you got to look at your soul, your spirit inside of you as that energy, that battery. One day that battery, is probably going to give out and, it's going to stop making the body
Yeah.
move. But if we know physics, that energy cannot be neither created nor destroyed, right? So that means that energy, it can only be transferred. That's physics. That's real.
Yeah.
So in a like manner, our spirit is going to, what?
Yeah.
It's going to transfer somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So it has to go somewhere, right? So I want my spirit to be joined, to the body of Christ, bro. I want my spirit, and I want everybody's spirit. That's why I'm trying to spread this gospel music now, bro. The you know what I'm saying? This Christian Catholic hip hop, bro. Because I want everybody to be, joined, and to be, loving God, bro, when we pass away, bro.
Yeah.
We're just here passing by, bro. We're just here passing by, like straight up.
My dad always says that. Yeah.
Yep.
So Catholic hip hop. You just explained to us the reason you transitioned to that. What kind of feedback are you getting from your old Hataproof following and your new following that's coming with that?
It's crazy, bro, because I always thought that people were gonna laugh at it and mock at it. Man, my fans have probably been the most accepting. Oh wow, you doing this now, man? I'm glad you're doing this, bro. You know what I'm saying? And that's just people who might be just nominally, or might pop into church every once in a while, right? But then there's homies, man, that, man, I was locked up, man, for 10 years, man, and I get out, and I found the Lord in prison, bro, and just to come find out, and I looked you up, bro, and, man, it just makes me feel good inside, bro, that, that you found the Lord, too, and this and that, you know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Without
man,
having to go to prison.
thankfully, bro.
That makes it even more that you actually look because you wanted to make that change.
Right.
And you found your answers.
I found my answers,
that
bro.
makes it more, admirable, so to speak.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I wasn't like, glamorizing the prison culture. I was just, stating the fact that, like they had to go through that.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Unfortunately, they had to go through that.
Unfortunately, they had to go through that. And you're right. I should be thankful that I found it,
Yeah. Before it got to anything to that extent. That's what I mean. Like,
yeah.
nothing drastic had to happen.
Yeah.
So you're getting a good feedback. I did see, I don't know if you can talk about this or if you want to talk about it, but I did see you have plans for putting together some sort of an event.
Yes. Okay, so I want to put together this event, man, with a couple of different other, mainly Catholic, but, Christian, non-denominational Protestants, I would like to put together an event, man, and if anybody out there is watching this that is involved in Catholic hip-hop, youth ministry, Christian hip-hop, whatever, and I don't draw a hard line between it, bro. Ultimately, the only Christians are Catholics. Catholics are, let me put it back. All Catholics are Christian, but not all Christians are Catholic, okay? But we all do believe that Jesus Christ, is our true God, one mediator between us and
Yeah.
God, you know what I'm saying? We all believe the essential, mysteries and truths, you know what I'm saying? So I don't like downplay, my Protestant, evangelical, non-denominational Protestant, folks. But I mean, I do kind of emphasize that I do, I am Catholic, you know what I'm saying? But what I would like to do is put together this event, man, so that we can go out there and have a good time, fellowship, you know what I'm saying, and bring this culture to the youth.
Yeah.
Just how we were trying to do it back in the day with with the secular stuff, with the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Now we're trying to. I would like to, if God permits, put an event together, bring in a couple of different acts, maybe from LA, from Dallas. I know there's a couple of local people here that I've already spoken to about this. Rent like a event center out and do nothing big. Something small to where like people who might be interested in trying to find I guess like a way back into the faith, or maybe have never heard about Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, man, might have some answers, questions answered, You know, it just basically ministry through hip hop, bro. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Bringing the gospel message through the music, man.
So making that transition, how much harder is it to put together a song now than it was when you were doing, just hip hop?
It's a little harder because what I found is like at first it was harder because I didn't know what I was talking about. You know, I had a lot of things that maybe I was repeating, things that I might have heard other rappers say, or oh, that sounds cool, or things that are really vague. And now my theology, I have a better understanding of theology, and now I just want to make sure that when I say something theology wise, that it is truly representing, the Christian faith. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One, and second is how am I going to put my life experience to, to tie it into that, and so it's a little easy and it's a little hard. You know what I'm saying? I want to tell my story. I don't want to point my fingers. You're gonna go to hell. That's not what I do. I tell
Yeah.
you, man, look, this is what I was doing. You don't be a fool and do that. You know what I'm saying? Because Jesus loves you, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's just I'm still new at this. I think like seriously, like I dropped my first Catholic hip hop song like 2 years ago. And then like over time I've written a couple of different, and I'm still working on, like every day working on new stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I haven't quite made like a big release. I got 2 music videos that I'm working on right now. But the thing is, man, I just, like I said, I want it to be something that just flows organically, and at the same time is scripturally and theologically accurate,
Yeah.
So-
So with these singles coming in the music videos, are you working on an album currently for?
Man, it's different, bro. Like now, we ain't gotta go sell albums no more. So now I'm looking at it from the, millennial point of view, like the whole new, streaming. You know what I'm saying? So now my thing is like really, really trying to take that database that I had. When people would come to my store, you know what I'm saying, I would always take their name, email, phone number, and stuff like that. So I have a pretty large database of people that are fans. I mean, like I have like 51,000 followers on YouTube, you know what I'm saying? My Instagram's decent, Facebook is really, really good. So I'm taking advantage of all those social media platforms to try to, push it out there like that,
Yeah.
man. And I'm sorry, what was the question?
Are you working on that? Trying to put together an album?
That was a question. No. So I'm focusing more on doing singles. So, what I'm trying to do right now is like I got like 6 singles that I've recorded, and I want to do a video for every single one of them, put them up on YouTube, and just, disseminate them over all social media, man, and see where it goes from there. Like right now, the reach that I have in social media alone is good, but it's like, I want to reach out to for real, the person who needs it, bro. Like not that's not just listening to it just, casually, but I
Yeah.
oh man, I never thought about that, or oh man, like I don't know, God forgave, all sins, or just stuff like that, like whoever really needs to hear it, bro. That's what I'm hoping to reach.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this to be famous or to exploit it financially or anything like that. Now I do this for fun and to glorify the Lord, bro. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I want to bring the message out there for the people who really need it, bro, who need to hear it. You know what I'm saying? So even if it's one person that hears it from the 51,000 people on YouTube that are following
Yeah.
the channel, if one person can say, oh man, maybe I need to go to confession, or maybe I need to change my life, or maybe I need to go, to my pastor and see, whatever. As long as it sparks that interest, as it plants that seed, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's what matters, bro.
Yeah.
Leading people to Christ.
Well, one of the comments that I wanted to make was, with so much negativity in social media, in regards to what you're saying, how people can just go to YouTube and find your music and maybe change the way they think a little bit, because you get on social media and it's a lot of negativity.
Right.
There's not enough, positive messages on there.
Right.
So that's one of the things that I think is cool, the fact that people can get on YouTube, find your music, and be like,
Right.
okay, so maybe like I did, I messaged you on a personal level, and I'll be like, hey, I'm having problems with my belief.
Yeah.
Like, what can I do, or what do you recommend me doing to find answers?
Right.
Maybe somebody, like say, maybe one out of the 5,000 or 1 out of every 100
Yeah.
make that decision. Hopefully helps them.
So like yesterday, man, I was on Facebook and somebody started putting some lies on Facebook about the Catholic Church, man. And I always feel like, man, I don't want to go in there and debate, but what I want to do is at least let people know, hey, look, this is what we really believe, bro. So just so that you know, you don't have to believe what I believe, but just so that you don't lie, because lying's a sin too. So by you lying about me, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, the point is that I went in there and boy, I got swarmed, bro. Everybody's like putting ugly memes, bro. Like, you know, somebody put a picture of the Virgin Mary beat up and, you know, like, yeah, that's your idol. And I'm like, all right, bro, whatever, bro. So I kind of like backed off of it. You know, I mean, I did school them with some scriptures and stuff like that. Like, hey, man, I'm not giving you opinions. I'm not giving you how I feel, emotions. I'm telling you what scripture says, bro. You know what I'm saying? And how real this is. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they just bombarded me with memes or whatever. But out of like maybe 15 people that were swarming me, I had 2 people hit me up like on a serious level. And they personal message me. Hey, bro, hey, man, I'm so-and-so, man. Here's my number, bro. Give me a call. Maybe we could talk. And then I like right now, like, yeah, man, I called him up. We talked for about 30 minutes, you know, and I was just sharing the faith with him, man, you know, uplifting him, you know, guiding him. You know, I necessarily, you know, trying to hog him up into the Catholic Church, you know what I'm saying? But if that's where he feels called to, then by all means. But just pointing them to Christ, man.
Yeah.
And then I had another dude hit me up too. Like, hey, man, I grew up Catholic, man, but I don't go to church no more. You know, man, I just read my Bible at home and I'm trying to understand. So there's a lot of people that are in the position that I was 3-4 years ago that I almost want to say like they're agnostic, like they believe in God, you know, but they don't know what to believe about God, what's right about God, what to believe, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So hopefully, man, with this music that I'm doing, and that a lot of people whose theology is correct and whose knowledge is right about Christ, man, what we're trying to do, what we aim at doing, man, is snatching up those people and maybe start, you know what I'm saying, like telling them, man, look, this, you know, read this book, or you know, like understanding the orthodox understanding of because it gets pretty complex, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I don't want to get into too much theology, but a lot of people will debate with you and they don't even know that, you know what I'm saying, like God, what God is, or who God is.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to understand these things before you start debating, because then you get into situations where if you don't understand theology and the demand that it's a complete different dimension, like for instance, the spiritual realm, you know, it's eternal. There's no time.
Yeah.
You know, so obviously, you know, different rules apply to it. You know what I'm saying? One of the hardest things I think that people have trouble with is, and I'm just gonna keep it quick. God is 3 people, but it's one God. That's the Holy Trinity. So it's 3 people, 3 distinct people. You have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? And it's one God. So you can almost say that it's like a little family. And this is in the Bible. You know, this is if anybody want to message me or whatever, and I'll point it to them. I don't have time for that right now. But God is 3 in 1, right? And also, one of those persons is Jesus Christ, the Son, right? He has 2 natures. He has the divine nature, and he has the human nature. But you cannot take those 2 natures apart. You know what I'm saying? So like whenever you say that Mary is the mother of God, people are, oh, that's blasphemy. You know, God existed before Mary. Yeah, God existed before Mary, but because Jesus Christ is God, and that's her son, then she is the mother of God. But it doesn't mean that Mary, you know, gave birth to God. It just means that she gave birth to the human person of Christ, but you cannot separate that. And then that's when it starts getting messy and everybody starts like, no, you're you know, blasphemy, and you know, and it gets difficult, man. It's probably a lot more negativity, man, from people that don't understand, have an orthodox understanding of theology. They can get pretty ugly, bro. You know, and I can understand why a lot of people are like called to like not like, I'm gonna stay away from that crazy religious stuff. You know, I understand.
Yeah.
I get it. You know, there's a lot of people who are very damning, very you know, hardcore, but in a negative way. You know. But that's not what we're trying to do, man.
Yeah.
Right now, we're trying to point them to the Lord, let them know that the Lord's merciful, you know what I'm saying, and just get them to understand, you know, the Orthodox faith, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, you know, like the way that the apostles taught it, you know, 2,000 years ago, you know what I'm saying, because that's what the Catholic Church is, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You go back, you do your history research, Saint Justin Martyr, you know, Clement, all these people that they talk about in the Bible, like in the Book of Acts or whatever, you know, those are the first people who call themselves Catholics. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So anyway, bro, I don't want to get too much into that, you know, but I just, you know, want to let everybody know, man, that what we're doing now. You
Because
know?
like I said, obviously I wanted to go from the very beginning, and then I wanted to get more of. Obviously, this shows the listeners that you're not just.
I'm sorry.
I said, obviously, you explaining this,
Yeah.
it allows the listener and the viewers to know that you know what you're talking about. You're not just, oh, I'm changing into Catholic hip hop.
Yeah.
Let me just read verses from the Bible.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you know. So
yeah, no,
this
man,
was- this was-
it's organic, man. It's genuine. I'm telling my life experiences from you know what I did growing up, you know, and I'm tying it into how it is against Scripture, the things that I was doing. I'm not telling you're gonna go to hell because
Yeah.
you know, nah, bro. I'm talking about me, my sins.
Yeah.
You know, my change. But hopefully you use that as a witness so that maybe that it'll impact
help
your life.
somebody, yeah.
You know.
So I-35 Boys, Hate-Proof, creating the following, you know, the shirts, screw video mixes, the chains, influencing people, transitioning Catholic hip hop. Out of everything you've done in your career as a whole, what do you want people to take away when it's all said and done?
that we're all gonna die, bro.
We
And
all
then you
gonna
guys need to
die.
follow Christ. That's what I want people to take from all this, because that's what the initial mission was, bro. You know, life. What is it? Time flies. Remember death. That's
Yeah.
what I want people to remember, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not calling death to myself by no means. You know, I gotta freak out because you be seeing people do interviews and they talk about death. No, I'm not talking about death like that. I don't want to call death. I ain't ready to go. I am not ready to go. I got my little kids.
Yeah.
Jesus spare me. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm trying.
Lil Cease turning into a man, so you still
yeah,
want to.
man. Yeah,
you
no,
wanna
my son, he's
be
22. He's doing his music, man. Shout out to Leon Friday, man. He's doing his thing. Check him out on SoundCloud. He's big on SoundCloud. He's doing his thing. But I think, like, you know, going back to the youngins, he's like, he's never said it, but I get the sense that he's like, that Hate-Proof, you know, that's a different era. I'm gonna do my thing, and I respect that, man. I
Yeah.
respect that. He does more like pop music, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like it is kind of trappy. Man, he's got some good stuff, man. Have you checked out any other stuff? Man,
I used to have him on
encourage-
Facebook, and
Yeah.
he don't pop up no more. so
Nah,
I don't-
he's real big on Instagram, and like I said, SoundCloud is probably, you know, his main platform. That
Yeah.
you know, I think that's what, like, where all the little cool new little hipsters are now, right? Like, it's like SoundCloud. But he got like thousands, millions of views on there, listens, plays, whatever they call them. And he's touring. He's done shows in New York, LA, Miami. He just
That's
had a
awesome.
show yesterday. He had a show yesterday here in Houston. So he's taking it to a whole new level because he's going to places. We were good in the Southwest, you know, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Oklahoma, Louisiana. But he's branching off into LA and Miami, like major cities,
awesome.
bro. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So he's taking what he's got merch, he's got shirts, he's doing all that stuff.
I'm gonna look
man.
for him
So-
when we get done with this. help me find him on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
It's real easy. It's Love on Friday. That's it.
Love on
Love on Friday. Yeah, at Love on Friday. Yep.
Yeah.
So you know, I forgot. I cannot believe I forgot to shout out to him, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. So basically, man, what I want people to take from this, man, is that don't spend your life, man, busting your butt for material things. To have, you know, the new Jordans and I don't even know if do people still wear Jordans? That's so old, huh?
Yeah,
Or
still.
whatever shoes, you know, expensive shoes. And back then we used to do the Jabos, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying, like Sean John, and you know what I'm saying, all the fancy stuff or whatever, man. And you know, piece and chains, and you know, slabs, and you know, don't that all that stuff, man. It gets rusty, it breaks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It, you know, word like earn not earn. That's the wrong word. Store up spiritual riches, man. You know what I'm saying? Be kind to the hungry. You know what I'm saying? Like help out, the poor. Travel, see the world. Everybody want to be cooped up in the hood just as long as they got their slab. Nah, man, go see China. Go see the pyramids in Mexico. Go see, go visit Honduras. Go see how there's a lot of tension between Mexicans and Central Americans growing up, and even now, even like with the whole border thing, go see what our brothers in El Salvador and in Honduras are living, so that you can understand where they're coming from. Go to Mexico. Go see what people in Mexico think about Donald Trump versus people in the United States that are spoiled and won't walk to the Dollar Tree think about Trump. Because there's a big difference, bro. I'm telling you, I just got back from Mexico. I was there for 10 days, man. We went to Mexico City for 5 days, and we were in Guanajuato for 4 days. And I talked to a lot of people, bro, and you'd be surprised how different perspective. I'm not going to say they agree completely with everything Trump does, but how it's like almost like the shoes on the other foot now.
Yeah.
And it's like, Mexico has to protect their borders. Mexico has to be more conservative in the way that they spend their money. They can't just give money away to Central American countries or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So when the president over there starts doing all this stuff, man, people are like, whoa, like, what are you doing? So people get in that same defensive mode in Mexico as people do here. Like, except in Mexico, you have a different dynamic because you have, the rich people, you have the middle class people, and then you have the poor people, and everybody's brown. So there's no, you're doing this because I'm Mexican, or you're doing this because I'm black, or you're doing this because I'm white. You know what I'm saying? They don't have that dynamic there.
Yeah.
But it's still the same thing. It's still, the higher ups, the middle class, and the lower class.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, unfortunately, like the majority of rich people, majority are white. You know what I'm saying? Middle class, you know what I'm saying? And you got the, the middle class is probably stuck between all three. And then you have, the lower income people. Unfortunately, it's our people, and the black people, and not educated and stuff like that. So you see President Trump defending certain things, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, protecting our interests as a country. Then you start seeing people, oh man, F that dude and this and that, but they're not getting to the bottom line. The bottom line, man, it comes down to that money, dog.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
He's trying to protect our money, bro. You know what I'm saying? And he's very, very, very careless about how he speaks. And I think that's what
it is. That's his
what it
biggest
is.
issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think he's done, and I don't want to get into politics too much. I'm probably already going to get some comments right here. Oh, man, see, support Trump. I should have wore a MAGA hat. Nah. I'm just saying that open your minds, man. Like, understand why people are different. You know what I'm saying? Like, travel and see what's going on out there, man.
Yeah.
That's what I want people to take from it. It's not, enjoy. Like I said, we're here, short time, passing by. Enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be negative. Don't be, don't be a douche. You know what I'm saying? Like just, get out there and see the world for what it is, the beauty in all things, man. See Christ in everything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, shit, man. I can't express enough how dope this was for me as a friend, as a fan, and I just couldn't wait for you to get your message out there. And because I feel like sometimes people don't understand why the change.
Yeah.
So to me, I was like, that was one of the first things when we agreed on the interview. I was like, I have to emphasize the fact that there's an important reason why he changed his style.
Yeah.
And why now he's, finding his true meaning.
Yeah.
And I've told you before, you're a hustler, you're an entrepreneur, and like I said earlier, the fact that you found God because you wanted to.
Yeah.
You did nothing drastic had to happen. Again, that's something to admire. And shit, we appreciate your time once again, man. Thank you for making time.
I really appreciate you, like opening this avenue for me, bro, and getting my message, helping me get the message across, man. God's gonna bless you for it. And I hope that anybody who's watching this, man, and has any questions, hit me up at Big Cease Hataproof on Instagram. I really don't do Facebook a lot because people tend to be really, really negative on there. YouTube is it just Hataproof Records? Hataproof Records. And that's it. I guess we're out, man. Peace, baby. God bless.